The strategic capability of your business is determined by having adequate and suitable resources and competence. This will help you survive and prosper. In this week's video on I Hate Numbers, I'm going to be looking at a resource analysis tool. I'm going to be talking to you about how we categorize resources, and we're going to be talking about something called threshold and core, and lastly I'm going to demonstrate the purpose of this video through the medium of a touring dance company. Hi folks, welcome to another weekly episode. The aim of the channel is to help increase and improve your financial awareness, improve your money mindset, help your business make more profit, save tax and time. What's not to love about that? Let's crack on with the video. Now, the resource analysis tool is a strategic planning tool in your toolkit which looks at two things. It looks at the resources you need to support your strategy, to keep things at a ticking over working level, and those that you need to gain competitive advantage. Now, resources by themselves are not the only thing you need. You also need the required skills and abilities to actually deploy those uses. There's no point having a wonderful brand name if you're unable to exploit that brand name to your advantage. Let's firstly think about how we categorize resources. Now, resources can be subdivided into two categories. Those are the tangible, the ones that we can physically see, kick and touch, and those that are intangible in nature. One conventional way to subdivide resources is to look at those that are physical. So for example, a building that you might have and occupy. We can look at the capacity of the building. The relative age and condition of the building will be instrumental in determining its use. There's the financial resources, so from things like money in the bank and having adequate working capital. There's the human resources, and those are the skills and numbers of the staff and freelancers that you deploy. And lastly, there's your intellectual capital. That's your brand name, your reputation, databases for clients, and the systems that you have in operation. Now remember, this is not just about having adequate resources, but it's also being able to actually deploy those resources effectively. Now, I referred to earlier on something called threshold and core. Threshold refers to you being able just to continue to operate effectively. That's your minimum level of aspiration. And then there's competitive advantage, where you might be exploiting your USPs, your position in the marketplace, and gaining a competitive advantage over your respective business colleagues. Now, if we dive deeply, let me just illustrate this by a little slide here. So this works. Now, we talked about threshold capabilities, and those are really seen at the tick over level, the ones to keep you monitoring, to keep your business going. Within that, we need suitable resources, and we also need those competencies to actually exploit those resources. In a few moments or so, I'll dive in with an example from a dance company, and we can relate that matrix, that table, into the medium of a touring dance company. And then we have those capabilities that we need, those resources that give us that competitive advantage. Now, a touring dance company at the threshold level would need access to transportation, a van or a vehicle, need a basic level of admin infrastructure, some financial resources, and the ability to budget and plan, and access to dancers and having technician support. The competencies that it requires also is some basic choreography skills, obviously an individual with driving license, some budgeting and planning skills, cash management, and competent and able dancers. Now, if that touring dance company wishes to go beyond and to gain that competitive advantage, then the unique resources may be its own reputation, its own brand, its own innovation in the dances and the interpretation that it does, and the level of engagement it has with its audiences. Now, allied to that, it would also need some core competencies. So things like marketing skills to be able to exploit the brand name and reputation. And by exploitation, we're meaning using and leveraging the reputation that it's built up. The choreography would need to be of a high standard. The lighting and design and effective management skills also would be required. Now, a useful thing about this planning tool, and if you check the show notes, the link, there'll be a table, a matrix summarizing those points. It's a very useful planning tool. Remember, having the resources, which is not just money, is necessary for your survival, growth and prosperity, but you also need the capabilities, the skills, the attributes, the competencies to be able to exploit and utilize those resources. Now, this is not a fixed point in time. Landscapes change, economic outlooks change, and therefore we need to be flexible and adapt the resource analysis accordingly. Folks, I hope you found this useful, this short video. Leave some feedback, a comment, and share it with those who you feel will get some benefit from that. And until then, have a good week, folks.